Hello everyone, welcome back to On The Fly. Today we're going to be recapping day 2 of the men's Olympic hockey event. So jump right on into it with the first game of the day between Sweden and Latvia. So in this game, Sweden did jump out to the early 3-0 lead before Latvia came back, potting 2. But at the end of the day, Sweden was too strong for Team Latvia, and they did prevail with a 3-2 victory. But overall, this was a game for Sweden that was sort of that warm-up game, playing together for the first time, and really, they didn't look terrible. They looked pretty solid, especially in the first few periods, and I think they were the better team in the game. Of course, skill-wise, they should be, but effort-wise, was sort of there as well, even par with Latvia. And it is going to be very curious to see where Latvia ends up, as obviously they are in a tough group with the Finns, the Swedes, and Slovakia. So between Slovakia and Latvia, most likely going to be pulling up the rear in 3rd and 4th place, and hopefully getting a solid spot for the qualifying rounds. Taking a look at the second game of the day, more Group C action between Finland and Slovakia. So Slovakia did jump out to the early 1-0 lead before Finland steamrolled them, winning the game 6-2. And this game, once again, was not a very good game for either side. Finland sort of just steamrolled them right off the top. They did score the first goal, which is something to sort of get the hopes up for, and then just sort of got out-talented by the Team Finland, as it should be. Obviously, Finland is a better team on paper, but at the end of the day, Slovakia does sort of want to be in that sort of contender role, but they do need to play better, and they do have to sort of gain some more talent, at least in my opinion, before they can contend with teams like Finland and Sweden. But of course, it does still remain to be seen, as obviously they are a young team, and they do have the potential to go far, as they did in the 2010 Olympics, but as I said, still remains to be seen what they are actually capable of. Moving on to another team that is actually capable of winning, we do have the US of A against Team China. So this game was a bad game. It was 8-0 for Team USA, and really sort of just a gong show, if we're being honest. USA, although they did held 2-1 goal in the first period, steamrolled them for 7 in the back 2, and really China did not stand any shot in this game. Drew Comesso with the 29 save shutout, but with that being said, when you face 55 shots in a game, you're not going to win very often unless your goaltender goes crazy. Jeremy Smith did do quite well today, but at the end of the day, not enough to guarantee the win, especially when you don't have any goals. It is very hard to win a hockey game. But with that being said, Team USA steamrolls China 8-0, and that sort of was the story of the day for Team USA. And they did look good. They didn't look great in the first few periods, a little bit shaky. But as soon as they got to the third period, settled down, found their legs, found the chemistry that they're looking for, they did sort of settle back in and play sort of the US style of hockey we do like to love and see. But it is going to be very curious to see, as obviously their next game is against Canada, whether or not they are going to be able to sort of come back and play against a level that isn't quite China's worth. And because if they play like they did in the first, Canada will steamroll them. If they play like they did in the third, they do stand a little bit of a shot against a team as veteran as Canada. Speaking of Canada, we're going to take a look at Game 4 of the day, with Canada beating Germany 5-1. So in this game, obviously, a good game between two solid teams. Germany is a very good team. They do have quite a few solid players. In Canada, obviously losing NHL players was huge for them, and it's going to be a very big sort of storyline throughout this tournament, as we will sort of see what leagues are going to be getting drawn from, mainly the K, mainly the Swedish Hockey League. But overall, it is going to be quite interesting to see how Canada will respond. Obviously winning 5-1 today in exciting fashion. It wasn't really a good game for the Germans, but of course when you're playing a team like Canada, you have to bring your best. And it was sort of revenge for the 2018 semifinals, in which Canada lost to Germany, and then Canada proceeded to win the bronze medal, and Germany with the silver. But at the end of the day, obviously Canada wants to be in that gold medal game, and really, if they are going to win, they have to beat teams like Germany every time, as they will be facing a team of that sort of skill level, most likely in the quarterfinals or qualifying rounds. But it's going to be curious to see how Canada is going to perform, especially when it comes to inside their own group, as it is a very tough group with the US, the Germans, and they got the Chinese, who they should steamroll, but at the same time, it is going to be quite interesting to see whether or not they're going to keep it civil, because obviously Canada is well known for their civility when it comes to hockey. Then they don't go terribly far. They'll pass the puck around in their little box, but at the end of the day, Canada and China do not match up skill-wise, but we'll see sort of how that ends up going coming up on Sunday at 8:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Same with the standings after day 2. We got Canada-US both with 3 points. The regulation wins. They do use the European scoring system, so 3 points for the win. 2 points for the regular overtime win, shootout win, and then 1 point for the overtime loss, shootout loss, and then for 0 points if you get the regulation loss. So Canada-US both winning in regulation today guarantees them both 3 points. Germany and China bringing up the rear both with 0. And then you got in Group B, same as yesterday, with Russia and the Denmark coming in at 3 points. Czechs and the Swiss both with 0, and then in Group C we got Sweden and Finland both with 3 points, and Slovakia and Latvia both coming up the rear with 0. Taking a look at the schedule for tomorrow's games. We got Russia and Denmark coming up at 11:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Denmark and Switzerland at 3:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Slovakia, Sweden, 3:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Latvia versus Finland at 8:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So these are all going to be good games. Most of them a little bit, some better than others. One game that I definitely would look for is Russia versus Denmark. Obviously, Denmark coming off the big win against the Czechs. We'll see if they can continue their momentum. I definitely would say to look at Sebastian Dahm, the goaltender for Denmark, as he is a very good goaltender. I would definitely recommend checking him out, checking out his highlights from the Czech game if you haven't already, because he was dominant. But overall, he was very good. And at the end of the day, if you can get a hot goalie in an Olympic tournament and you can score a few goals, another player on Denmark that I look at was Frans Nielsen. And if you have sort of that sort of key guy that you can rely upon for the goals and for the saves, you might actually have a shot at this tournament, and Denmark has both. So it is going to be very curious to see what goes on there, because obviously the better goaltender you can have, the better you're going to do in this tournament, and if you have the goal scoring to go with it, you have a shot at the gold for this year. And taking a look at the news from today, so Group A and Group C both get kicked off in action, and Drew Commesso with the 29 save shutout, which is very significant. Obviously the first shutout for the men's tournament, aside from the Russia one, but in Group A at least, first shutout for them, and I do expect more shutouts to come whenever Canada or Germany both play China. I don't expect China to score many goals at this tournament, but with that being said, if you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. If you'd like to drop a like, if you really liked it, consider subscribing. Tell all your friends and leave a comment down below your thoughts on day 2 of the men's Olympic hockey event. Until next time, see ya.